James Rosapepe with the Romanian Ally Award.
Look at that.
We didn't count on you flying here, so we're gonna ship it to you.
Mulțumesc. It is a pleasure to be back in Chicago with you. I first visited Chicago in 1968. Oh, exactly. For the Democratic Convention of 1968. I was not one of the demonstrators. I was a 17-year-old intern for the Democratic National Committee. I've been back to Chicago several other times, but the one that's most memorable and relevant to being with you today was in 1998, when President Constantinescu visited around the United States, came for the NATO summit that year in Washington, D.C., as the NATO summit is this year in Washington, D.C. And we spent two and a half days here in Chicago, and that was really my introduction to the Romanian American community here, which, as you know much better than I do, is diverse and vibrant and growing stronger every day, which obviously is what this wonderful summit is about. Over the years that I have, since I've come back from Romania, as was mentioned with a very kind introduction, I've been involved in creating Alianța, which is a national nonprofit of Americans interested in the Romanian-American Alliance. And let me ask you a question here. Who here, raise your hand if you've ever been to an Alianța event? Okay, let's have a round of applause for all those who come to an Alianța event. And then how many may come to one in the future? Raise your hand if you haven't come before. Okay, let's have a round of applause for those who may come in the future. So Chicago is already very, very involved with Alianța, and we appreciate that. And Mihai, obviously, and Ruff and other organizations, and Steve Benique have been involved with us in all kinds of ways. And it's just a joy to see you coming together here in Chicago, because Chicago, frankly, in national politics, I'm just saying Romanian American politics, I want to say that. Frankly, in the past, has kind of punched below its weight class. Given the skill in this room, given the energy in this room, given the spirit in this room, and beyond this room, you can play a much bigger role in the national conversation as well as in helping yourselves here. And I really welcome that. And so when Mihai contacted me and invited me to come, I was really honored and really appreciated the invitation. Just want to make 2 points and then I'll shut up and sit down, because you have many other things to do. One of the things that many people get bored with me doing, but it's important, and I think it's important for all of you as you're developing your community here, is to declare the successes of your country of heritage and of your success in the United States. And she said in the introduction that my focus was on peace and democracy and security when I was ambassador. This is 25 years ago. Democracy, when I went to Romania for the first time as ambassador, and I was talking about Romania being a democratic country, and Romanians would say to me, and this did not happen once, it happened multiple times, I'd say, it's terrific that Romania is such a dynamic democracy. They'd say, no, Mr. Ambassador, you don't understand. This is 1998. We're not really a democracy. I said, yes, you are a democracy, actually. You have elections and power changes peacefully and all that kind of stuff. That's like a democracy. They said, no. We'll never be a democracy like the United States. And I said, so what's wrong with Romanian democracy from 1998? Well, first of all, the members of parliament are always arguing with each other. Okay? Number two, the press writes whatever it wants, whether it's true or not. And number three, the politicians, they're only worried about the next election. I said, I'm the U.S. ambassador, so I'm here to say that's as good as it gets. And we're having our own struggles these days a little bit. But the fact of the matter is that the democratic success of Romania is a huge deal. And too many Americans don't know about it. And I think it's important for all of us in the Romanian American community and friends of the Romanian community to spread that word every chance we get. Prosperity. When I was there, prices went up 150% in 1 year. People were being laid off left and right. Since then, as I say, as soon as I left as ambassador, the crops came up and the economy improved, which is true. But in the time since then, Romania has had one of the fastest growing economies in Europe. Everybody, you all know that, but other people don't know that. The World Bank, I think it's 2 years ago, declared Romania a high-income country. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. And obviously, the accomplishments that you and the other Romanian Americans in the United States, and particularly in Chicago, have had, is another demonstration of Romanian success in the United States. And you need to show it off. It's really interesting listening to this conversation. I had no idea about the involvement in the local real estate industry here. That was fascinating. I knew about IT, I knew about a lot of other things, but the real estate I knew nothing about. And then, I guess it was a year or so ago, I learned about the Romanian and Moldovan trucking industry. I knew nothing about it. I never heard of them before. There's so many success stories, and it's a story that needs to be told, because it both empowers and inspires other members of the community, but it also builds the ability to have a voice in American democracy. There's a saying that if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And that's where bringing unity on specific, as Mihai says, on concrete projects, whether it's on a credit union, or whether it's on programs to help the elderly, or programs to help young people. Concrete things you can do, those are terrific. Those are very, very important. But also, if you're doing that, you come together and you gain a bigger voice. And that's where sort of the relationship with what you're doing, what we're trying to do with Alianza, is we want to make sure that when issues come up like visa waiver, that the U.S. government understands that there's a constituency in the United States that cares deeply about this. Similarly, on Putin's war in Ukraine. The third element of sort of my agenda when I was there was security. And at that time, Romania was not threatened. Now it is threatened.
Yes.
I mean, Romania is a frontline state in Putin's war. I don't know what Ambassador Moraru said this morning, but I've been with him on a number of panels and with other ambassadors from Central and Eastern Europe. And the one that sticks in my mind, the ambassador from Slovakia always says, the Ukrainians are fighting for our freedom in Slovakia. And that's exactly right. And they're fighting for Romanians' freedom in Romania. And frankly, they're fighting for Americans' security, because if Putin gets Ukraine, all the other states are in danger. That happens, it's a war with NATO. That's then American service men and women. So it's important for our country meaning the United States, as well as for the country of your heritage, Romania, that there are strong voices, not just from Ukrainian Americans, but from Romanian Americans and Polish Americans and Baltic and other Americans and Italian Americans like me, saying that this is important. So the unity that comes from concrete activities also provides a voice that will make a big difference for all of our interests and all of our kids' interests. You know, the African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I'm so glad to see all of you going together. Thank you very, very much.